call the meeting to order and ask everyone to stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I note the presence of a quorum. First item of business, approval of the regular agenda. I would make one minor comment, is that Trustee Kosak is not going to be here, he's represented by Rod Branham. But I will brief item 8B on the update of union negotiations, and item 8H, I would propose that we just defer that unless anyone has any, we'll leave it on the agenda, but anticipate that will be deferred until Treasurer Kosak returns. Any other changes, updates?
Other than the fact that my name is spelled wrong again.
Again?
Oh, it is. I'm so sorry. That was a typo, though. That's not because I didn't know how to spell it. Oh, no, that was, I'm sorry. That was a cut and paste from Rod.
Oh, blame me.
So there you go. I've been other than pasted this.
If you're gonna ask me to change, it's not gonna happen. All right, if you didn't say it, you cut and pasted it from the time before the last time you corrected it. All right, is there any changes? Hearing none, I ask for a motion to approve the regular agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion's agreed to. Regular agenda is approved. Consent agenda. Any changes? I do have one myself.
So
Okay, go ahead, Chief.
I actually had two things to bring up. In the actual, it's in the balance, I think it's the budget versus actual. The 2014 budget numbers were put in there, not the 2015.
This is, what?
Budgeted versus actual.
So you're in the treasurer's report, is that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
back in the financials now.
All right, so you're in the,
We put the wrong year in.
So go ahead.
Budget cycle.
They put the 2014 numbers on in not the 2015 numbers, so it's not gonna be a true.
Budget to
Can you
actual.
tell us what page you're on?
Well, it's
Two to two.
One of two.
Yeah, one of
two.
one of two.
Which one of two? There are two.
Budgeted versus
Budgeted versus
actual.
actual and expenses.
Yeah.
Okay, budget, okay,
And
got
you've
it.
got the 2014
Yes.
financials instead of the 2015
So it's-
budgeted.
Right,
amount.
so it's not gonna be, yeah,
No.
the approved budgeted numbers are not gonna be correct.
Right here, instead of putting the 2015 numbers in the budget in here, they
Yeah.
put the 2014 budget in the
Right.
computer, and so the whole report's wrong.
Right, so it's gonna be,
All right. Yeah, this is another example of we have page 1 and 2, and then page 2 and 2, and then we have page 1 and 2 again. That's another reason why we're so
It's
confused.
numbering, but that's, I think, numbering from QuickBooks. This is page 1 of 2 of that one.
Regardless, it is confusing to try to go to wade through this, because you can't reference a given page. Okay, point, your second point, Chief?
and this isn't a check register, but if you'll see, it's, and it's page 1, I can tell you it's a check register for January. And there is a 1/8/2015 check number 15314, actually, I'll pass these out. We need to do a line item adjustment. That was, yes, I'm just, Robert's Paint and Body. Trying to take all my notes here.
20,000.
For 20,000, here we go. We received this was for damage that was done to engine 1 back in 2014. And we received 2 checks from the our insurance company. One was for $16,093.61. And that was, we received that in May, and then we received a second check in October for $24.25 and 68 cents. So the $18,000, the $18,519.29 was this deposited into our regular account back then. So basically what I'm asking for there is that to be transferred back to line item 3-860, which is vehicle maintenance. And then the additional $1,900, almost $2,000 was for additional, work done that was done to the exterior for the spotlights on the truck, so.
So, what change are you requesting to the?
Well, if you look at, go back to that page that's inaccurate, which is the budget, the budget versus actual.
Original 102.
Yeah, the original 102 that we were talking at. And then if you go down to 3-860, you'll see a charge of $2,882.60.
20,000.
Yeah, 20,000, almost $21,000.
Yeah.
What I'm asking for is that we reimburse that line item, the $18,519.29.
Let me make a technical point here. What we're asking for is the approval of these documents, not budgetary action. I think if you want to add that as an action item, of course, we've
Isn't
already.
it?
What?
That's
Like
fine.
it's an amendment to the budget amendment?
We've already approved the regular agenda though.
Yeah.
Do we need board action to reimburse that
I
fund?
don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
Was there, okay, so
Then
that's.
I'll just make a note that that's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And that's all I have.
Okay, I do have one, in our discussion, this is in the regular minutes, item D, 8D. We were talking about the bylaws. The consensus was that, and we didn't vote on this, which is unfortunate, is that we do not need the section on committees. Not that we don't need bylaws. That was my perception. We didn't vote on it, so there's no formal record. So I would like that section to be deleted. Any comments on that? I mean, I think there's at least some controversy about what our conclusion was. What I propose to do going forward is that I went ahead and modified the bylaws, removed the sections on committees, and I was gonna bring it forward next time. And then, at that point, the board can act, and if the board decides it doesn't want bylaws at that time, but we have been on record as, this slow these many months of trying to get bylaws, so. Are you okay with that? Because you were the, you okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay, fine. And you'll make that change? Any other changes? All right, hearing none, ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So,
Second. Seconded by Meyer. All those, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. Public comment. A lot of people have nothing to say. Okay. There'll be another opportunity at the end of the meeting for public comment. Okay, chief's report, Chief Baer.
Okay, it was a busy month for us for fires. When January we were on actually 4 significant working fire incidents. But in the back of my report and back behind the statistical information, it just kind of, the board never, a while back, didn't want anything put in there as far as gumming up the works, as far as a lot of information on runs. But what it did is, we did a synopsis on an overview of each of the municipalities and what we've responded to overall, and just to get a picture of, what each municipality, kind of the activity in there at a glance on just a pie sheet. And we had more explanation if people so want. Part of what I'd like to bring up though is one of the section that is the most highlighted and that is the rescue emergency medical service. That also includes injury accidents. So overall last year, our EMS response was like 43% of our calls, which in the big scheme of things is fairly low compared to other municipalities. A lot of the other municipalities are quite a bit higher. So that's just in there. It's just kind of, I guess, if you will, nice to know information kind of at a glance. If anybody wants their individual statistics and what we responded to, we can certainly provide that to you. In addition to that, I met this morning, and I've met twice now with Dexter Builders on the on Station 2. more to follow on that. We're gonna end up meeting with some other contractors to,
We do have an action item on that, or it's part of unfinished business, is the update on the substation, is that what you're talking about?
well, yeah, and it's in my report, so. In addition to that, Washtenaw County's putting together a program that's close to it, and HVA is an integral part of it. It's called the HEART program. And for people that don't know, when we're out working on scenes for an extended period of time, over the years, Red Cross has come out and provided coffee, water, and, you know, snacks and things like that to feed firefighters and such. For a while, there was Red Cross kind of fell down and became undependable. Then Salvation Army kicked in and they started what's called a canteen. And they were really good, but they ended up pulling their unit out of our area because it wasn't busy enough. And so this county, with the help of several volunteers, came up with what's called the HEART program. And it's going to more or less replace what Red Cross was doing for emergency service individuals. HVA donated an ambulance, and that ambulance is being equipped with coffee pots, microwaves, things like that. So we can call that on extended incidents, and they will come out and they will provide those kinds of rehab items for the emergency crews that are working on scenes. So it's all going to be through private donations. The Washtenaw County Fire Chiefs Association is kicking in some funds to it. I believe HVA is contributing as well to it. Livingston County has one very similar to it, and that's kind of what they're mirroring it after, and it works very, very well. So it's going to be a great addition to what we have in the county. The organizational chart is up on the web, minus the pictures. We will be putting pictures, and it should be something that is very nice and usable if people go on the web to look at it. As I said, we had a busy month with fires, and one of the comments that I made, like the fire chief needs to be kind of more of an accountant than maybe some other things. And one of the things I think is the fire chief needs to make sure that his people are well trained and have the tools necessary to do their job. And when I watch our people work on these fire calls and these incidents, they are second to none. They perform awesome, and we have, I think, some of the best firefighters around. And all you have to do is watch your performance and know that. And so what we strive to do is try to get our people what they need, and it shows on their performance. But other than that, unless anyone has questions, that's...
Any questions or comments for Chief? I have a couple. First of all, yeah, it was a busy month, structure fire-wise. I noticed that the 3 out-of-area structure fires were mutual aid. Was the Linden Township fire mutual aid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Who assisted us?
We had Dexter, Stockbridge, and Scio were coming to that fire. We kept Dexter and Stockbridge, and
Excellent.
we canceled everybody else.
Okay. I noticed you say that, your report, firefighters entering the structure experience high heat and zero visibility. It
Right.
sounds pretty stressing. I have to ask this. Did you break out the infrared gear to see inside?
No,
No.
but because I don't believe our thermal camera is even really working right now, is it? Guys?
Turned on.
Because of
About 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Got like 30 seconds of battery.
Yeah, the battery, we can't replace batteries anymore in it because of its age, so.
Because it's so old.
Right,
So,
right. So,
Well,
So
would
Derek
you,
busted out-
if you,
sorry.
would it have been helpful if it did work?
Yeah, it would have been helpful.
I mean,
Ultimately, they made entry through a sliding glass door. It was a finished basement, so they made entry there. But we use it a lot, for checking for extension and spot fires and things like that. So Initially, you know, they're typically used for, search and rescue,
Right.
but, yeah, we would have used it.
How old is that device?
Oh my God, that's gotta go back to the late nineties, I'm guessing. Wouldn't anybody venture a guess?
Mid to early nineties.
Mid to early, that old, okay.
When I was there.
Did you get one? Okay.
That old? Hard to believe.
You got the old retired guy.
I think we've got, I mean, the technology has come so far, and it's gotten so much cheaper. I mean, so, I'm not in the habit of spending extra money, but I would ask you to just, with all your other duties, is look into that, see what a replacement cost might be and how we might go about doing that, because I think that's one area that we can.
Were we not online to get a new unit?
I remember some discussion about that.
I remember discussion about that,
We had it as part of our grant, and I believe it's still part of the grant that we're applying for, is it not, or isn't it? It's not, okay. It was part of our last grant, and so, we weren't successful with that grant, so, but, yeah, that's simple enough to find out.
All right, let's see if we can do that. I mean,
Absolutely.
I've got a couple technical questions here, not technical, but admitted. Should know this, but incident types, what's the difference between a 320 and a 321? Emergency medical service and it's cut off, or EMS call excluding vehicle.
Hang on a second. 320 is emergency medical services, other,
Mhm.
and then what was the other one, Rod?
EMS 321, EMS call excluding.
Excluding vehicle accidents, so it was something that occurred at, like someone's home, at a residence or a business.
So emergency medical services is not at a home then? I'm trying to figure out what the difference between those two is.
The people doing the reports, can you, Help me out?
The standard EMS call, I guess if there is one, is typically an EMS call other than motor vehicle, whatever that one is.
Yeah, 321.
That's your
21.
typical one.
Yeah, that's the.
Sometimes calls will either, maybe you're showing up, cause at times maybe we show up and we're providing a driver for HVA, or maybe it's not a full-blown EMS call, or it's something different, then usually in the notes it will describe that. There's something different about than our standard EMS call, or full-blown one.
All right, but it's not substantively different, I mean, it's not.
No, it's just it's a small changes way for us to know that if we went back and, if somebody FOIA'd or something, or not FOIA'd, but they requested that record, then the report writer would know and then look at the notes. No
Okay.
difference.
Okay.
But they're all within the same realm for us.
Okay, fine, that's all I need to know. Chief, getting to your pie charts, I think this is actually for me, speaking for myself anyway, very good. Summary of the year. I do have a couple of questions though. First of all, it's a good intent call. 17% of our calls were good intent calls. I would hope they would all be good intent calls.
They're like lithocysts.
Yeah, we do a lot of
So
those.
that's, would that be like a?
Like non-emergency, kind of.
Non-emergency, okay. All right, great.
Right.
In your, is there?
We could, if you so choose, provide an actual better breakdown of just the, under those sections, maybe then next board.
We can do that.
I think, this is an annual report. I mean, I wouldn't want you to do this every month, it's a lot of
Right.
ink, but as a one-time, once a year thing, I think a better,
Yeah, that's,
level of that breakdown. Because my next question relates to the same kind of thing, and that is on the rescue and emergency medical services incidents. Now, that's, the question is how many of those are actual rescue and how many of those are EMS? So that would be a good breakdown.
yeah,
to
we
me.
can do that. We didn't do it this month because in the past, people
I
didn't
know,
want all
right,
that information,
right.
but we can certainly do that for next month, right? Kevin?
Okay. So that's all I've got. Anybody, any last chance? Okay, thank you. Okay, chief's report, we're done with, on to unfinished business. First item of business, status of the Lima Township substation, Vice Chairman Meyer with an A.
with an A, yes, thank you. I can kind of echo Chief's comments here. We are getting several additional contractors to come in fact, we have a meeting, 9:30 tomorrow morning with another contractor to review the prints and, get some prices around and see what type of start date we can come up with. We are, I shall say, trying to instill a sense of urgency in the contractors that, whoever we would so choose to do the job, we want them in, we want it done, and be able to occupy the site, so.
And just as a sidebar, we were asked what kind of a time frame it would take. They're talking like 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
That's what they were projecting, and that was from Dexter.
And I still find that hard to believe.
12
So-
weeks from today.
Time to start,
So,
So-
12 weeks from when they start.
yes.
When are they gonna start?
Well, not until we get some more bids.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think we said before is that we wanted a timeline, or if we didn't have a timeline, we wanted them here to explain why we don't have a timeline.
And we'll have a lot more information tomorrow morning. As I mentioned, we have a contractor coming in tomorrow that understands the urgency of the situation. And I find 12 weeks to be totally unrealistic for what we're asking for in there. It took them nearly that to put siding on the side of the building.
Okay.
So,
Well, okay, anybody, what a sense of the board, we, I mean, you're running this thing as vice chair, it's in your bailiwick, but I would hope that since the board's request wasn't met, that we ask them to be here next month. And I'll leave that, you know, in your, I don't wanna speak for the board, speaking for myself, I think it would be wise for you to tell them the board would like to see the schedule or yourselves next time. I don't think we need a motion on that, but if someone wants.
honestly, if we can come up with a contractor that is willing to move in and start the project with a reasonable price in a matter of a few days or a week, I would suggest if we required a special meeting to approve that, that we do so.
Well, if it comes down to us being the
holdup.
the holdup, then we'll certainly do that, yeah, absolutely, no problem then. Okay, all right, thanks, Craig. Status of union negotiations, Kirk Kosek is not here, so I'll stand, I mean, in the action, it's kind of outside of, it's past the committee at this point, so let me just update from last week. Mike Bloom of Foster Swift took the changes that we discussed at our closed session meeting and incorporated them and got that to the union rep, Ron Palmquist, I think sometime over the weekend. I know he had received them by yesterday. They had discussions yesterday about the nature of the changes, and of course, I don't want to go into the details for a number of reasons, but there was additional negotiation needed. Unfortunately, just since he just got them yesterday, we really can't put a timeline on that. Hopefully we'll get a timeline kind of later this week when that might be. Now, once that happens, we will need to go have another closed session to go back and review those changes, because there will have been changes to the changes, and then subsequent to that come out and then vote on it. So that's the overall plan. I can't tell you when that special meeting might be. It could take a while, because or it could be done quickly. I mean, Bloom turned this thing around. We had a number of things, clarifications and so on. He got that done into Palmquist, and they discussed it yesterday. So that's 3 working days after we actually had the meeting. So that progress is good, but in any case, that's the update. Any questions?
Are we going back to negotiations, or,
Well, we're still in negotiations. We're not.
I mean, with our negotiating
With
committee?
No, this is, right now, a lot of the issues that are being worked out are legal issues, matters of
Right.
law, okay? So that's why the lawyers are taking care of it. Now, when we get that in a committee, that will be our decision. If, we can do a number of things. We can say, this is great, go forward, we'll come out and we'll approve it. Or we can say, we need to renegotiate elements of this, and if it needs, coordination between the two sides, then it will go back to negotiation, but that's for the board to decide subsequent to that closed session meeting. Does that make sense? Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, status of bylaws, I think I've already talked about this, is that I'll bring those forward next month without the committees, and going forward, I suggest that if we did want a stand-up committee like we did this last time, we just need to specify what its powers are and duration and that, this is a, but I do think we need bylaws, because what I'm doing right now, the rules I'm following are basically up to me, and I'm not sure you want that, so. Okay, any questions, comments on bylaws? Okay, status of agreement with Chelsea on the fire station. I emailed everyone a copy of this, and I realized it was, this is two things here. This is not an urgent thing, but it's something we want to get into place so that we clean up our audit, because our auditor has been pinging us on this, that we don't have an agreement with the city. So, what we can do today is a couple of things. We can vote on forwarding to the city. I don't anticipate this will be a final document. I expect that there will be changes, because if you looked at the document, you'll notice that it requires a lot out of Chelsea, I think it's fair to say. Things that may not be, liability insurance, that kind of thing. I expect there'll be changes before we get a second bite of the apple. Or we can defer till the next month, have the document in the packet, and have more chance to review it if that's desired. So I'll leave that to the board's pleasure about how they want to proceed on that. Or another way, it's up to your choice. So I'm open to the floor for.
I would say defer it to next month and give us the opportunity to thoroughly review the document.
Why don't we make that a motion?
I can certainly do that. Make a motion to defer, what are we calling that?
For consideration of the building agreement with Chelsea.
Consideration of the building agreement of Station 1 with the city of Chelsea until our March meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of deferring the consideration of the building agreement to next month indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion is agreed to. Thank you. Let's see, status of the chief's contract. Received Jim's markup and his legal team's input on Thursday, I think it was. So I looked that over and sent it to, again, Mike Bloom at Foster Swift. He returned it on Sunday. I did have a chance to look at it. I'm almost done incorporating those changes. I do have to say at this point that without getting into the details, that some of the changes are substantive. I mean, there's new things that you brought forward that I think needs board approval. So, considering the timeline, you're gonna be out of pocket here shortly, right? You're gonna, what's your vacation?
Oh, next week, yes.
Next week,
Yeah. We're gonna be gone for a week.
okay, so when will you be back?
The last week
We'll
of,
get back on on Monday night late.
Which is
Yeah.
Monday,
We'll be like,
Monday the,
yep, we leave on a Tuesday, come back on Monday.
What's the date you're due back?
Yeah.
I think it's like the 23rd.
bring your own.
23rd,
Why don't you
I
can sit
think.
here, we'll let you sit the big table if you want.
yeah, I think
I'm
we're
sorry,
back,
what was that?
I think we're back to 23rd, right?
I think it's the 23rd.
Okay, your contract expires, the end of the month, so, we need to allow for the possibility that we don't complete this negotiation by the time the contract runs out. So, at this point, you got a couple of options for each agreement. Then I'll have to call a special meeting to bring us back in to approve the contract, because it's, the board did give me approval to negotiate, but I think that the contract has changed substantively enough. I'm uncomfortable going forward without board approval, okay? So if Jim and I come to an agreement and our, Bloom and his guy are okay with it, call a special meeting, come in and approve the contract. Or, we need to allow to extend the current contract, on perhaps a month-by-month basis. So, and the other alternative is let the contract expire. I'm not sure anybody wants that, but I guess what I would request at this point, if that set of scenarios sounds okay, is a motion to authorize the extension on a month-by-month basis of the current contract. So that gives us the, if necessary, it gives us the contingency if we don't complete the negotiation process. So that's my thought, discussion.
I would make that motion, to extend the chief's contract, 30 days at a time until final board approval of the new contract.
Could I make a friendly amendment, make it at 1 month instead of 30 days?
Certainly 1 month, that was my intent.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right, not all
Otherwise,
at
it's-
30, yes.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, discussion. We all caught up, Linda? Okay, great. Moved and seconded, no further discussion, all those in favor of authorizing extension of the chief's contract on a month-by-month basis indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, thank you. Okay, we're down to accounting services, and John Anderson from Southern Fields here. However, Kurt is not, and I have nothing to offer. Does anyone have anything to offer on the accounting services
Yeah,
aspect of this?
I was
All right,
actually
good.
asked to do that.
Oh, okay, good.
In fact, Kurt asked me to contact other fire departments and see what they're doing in terms of accounting services, and the majority of the fire departments, and this is, mine is behind the dispatch report, so. But, most of the departments in Washington County are municipal departments, so they deal with typically one governmental entity, and typically the fire chief receives or prepares his budget. It goes to the municipality, they approve it, and then, the fire chief then, receives the invoices, approves them, it goes, to the municipality, and they process those, and most of them have their own internal staff that handle the, check cutting, payment, and the statistical information, and typically the fire chief gets back a monthly report that looks very similar to our budget versus actual revenues and expense report. I spoke to 2 other departments that were similar to ours. I talked to Dexter, and Dexter's with 7th Rule, so they're pretty much doing the same thing that we're doing. And I checked with Saline Fire Department. And both of them are considered area-wide. They use an interlocal agreement as opposed to being an authority, which is a standalone governmental entity. Saline, how Saline works is the fire chief approves all the invoices, and it's provided a monthly report similar to what everybody else receives. The Saline Fire Department employs a full-time secretary who's a former City of Saline employee. The secretary handles paying of all the bills, developing the financial reports, billing for emergency services, all those things. Saline leases office space from the City of Saline for her use. The department also has an agreement with the city where she's still allowed to go back and do certain tasks for the city, and then the city reimburses the fire department for the hours that she spends working for the city. And the secretary in Saline is paid $48,000 a year annually. Also met with Linda Riley to go over how Linden Township and Multi Lakes Sewer Authority handle their budgeting and financial reporting. And from my perspective, I like how Linden Township and Multi Lakes do their budgeting reporting. They work very closely with their auditor, which is also ours, Pat Hannaford, for oversight. They've developed a budget format that shows 2 years of actual costs. The bill paying is handled in-house. They use a part-time person that comes in and produces the financial reports, and, you know, I think it's something that maybe the board might wanna consider, and I would honestly defer to Linda, who is the person that's, much more experienced in this area as far as what they've done and how Multi-Lakes works, and,
Okay, Judy Paul is here. She is the one that's doing the accounting for Multi-Lakes. She was recommended, and her name and everything given to Multi-Lakes by Pat Hannaford. She's with his blessing. She works closely with Pat, and you could probably explain to us some of the duties that you have at Multi-Lakes.
Okay, I do, I talked to Pat this morning too, and so I do all of the general ledger postings. I, do Excel spreadsheet, because I track the receivables, the payables, some of the banking, I track that. And I do all of the cash disbursements, and and do the financial reports also. I do the bank recs.
You've also, one thing that she's been doing too now for Multi-Lakes, she is, and from what I've gotten from Kim, nobody has looked at the interest rates that you're getting on CDs or anything here for a long time. She's doing that and going out and looking at the banks, making sure that they're getting the most interest they can on all their investments, and that's what she can do for here. Because right now, nobody's looking at it. I mean, I give her high ratings. She's doing an excellent job at Multi-Lakes.
Anybody have any questions for me?
Anyone?
I got one question for Kim. Has anybody gotten a quote of what it would cost to purchase the QuickBooks software? Cause that's
Yeah,
something they
it's
would have
just,
to do.
we have it, we already own it,
Mhm.
and so it's just a upgrade of $229.
Yeah, our treasurer's not here right now, so I'm not sure what action I'm
Yes.
personally not comfortable going forward with that, is okay.
But I
I'm-
wanted everybody to
Yes,
meet
I'm
Julie
glad,
and
thanks
find
very
out
much
what
for
she
coming.
does do.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say this, going forward, this is certainly an alternative we will investigate. I don't know that we're positioned to commit to it today, I personally am not, but,
I'm with you, I'd like Kurt's, he's
He's
the
our
treasurer,
treasurer.
so
That's fine.
so let's just
Be
kick
wise
this one
to
down the
have.
road, and is that's okay with everyone,
Okay.
we'll just
Put it on next
put it
month's
on.
agenda.
Mhm.
Good.
Okay.
So, thanks for coming,
That's
but
fine.
we'll,
Thank you.
the good news is he made the first cut.
Okay.
All right, anything else on accounting services? All right, status of the dispatch contract, Chief Care.
we took the original contract and took out, Chelsea and put in Emergent Health Partners and HVA, so, at this point in time, I guess unless there's questions about that or the dispatching, Roger's here, we can ask him questions as well, so. He's right there.
Over here, Renner.
Oh, okay.
Hiding in the corner.
Now that this is actually coming down to a contract, and it has been substantially modified from the previous version, I was looking at this, and I'm not sure if I've been hanging around lawyers too much, but under dispatch services, it lists services as the ability to. That's different from providing the service, in my mind, now. Again, well, it may be a minor thing, I think we would all agree, but that we know what it means, but that the question is, what does it say? And it's important in the following context, is that some of these things are almost phrased as to things that you will provide, not that you are going to provide with the contract initiation. Ability to dispatch using the MB, how do you, I forget the acronym, MBAS,
Mavis.
Mavis, I remember that. And the radio channels and Rip and Run, are those things gonna all be available on day one?
Should be, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I've not seen, is this a contract from us for you guys?
No, this is ours,
Yeah,
right.
I've not-
No,
he
I've
hasn't.
not seen
It's,
this.
yes, it is a contract, proposed so
Oh, I
it's-
did, this is the one that
Back
was
up.
last,
Yes,
month.
yeah, except we took and
Probably
put,
over that,
Yeah.
you guys did.
because it dispatch services right at the top. Shall provide all required dispatch services on a 24/7 da-da-da. And then it lists
right,
their abilities that you have to be able to provide this,
Right.
but it does state up above, shall provide.
all required services. Then it goes on to list what those services are. And a service can be a contingency. It can be, if it's needed, we will provide it, or we will provide it from day one. Maybe this is fine tuning, but Roger, hadn't seen this before?
Well, I
Last
saw,
month.
yeah, I saw this last
Yeah.
month, but
Okay,
I,
You saw it
last month or month
Yeah,
before.
no, last month.
Yeah,
Last
yeah,
month.
You
I
saw it
did,
with
I did
Chelsea's
see
name was
this.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was Ed
Right.
Schultz instead of,
and that was, yeah, when, cause Ed and I talked about it,
Well, I'm not gonna, has this been reviewed by, has this language here been reviewed legally? The language for dispatch services?
Way
Yeah.
back with
No,
Chelsea.
no, this is new.
What-
This is new
this,
language.
this has not been reviewed.
That's what, yeah,
No.
I think that's, that worries me some. Maybe if I'm the only one, that's fine, but, the board will have to vote
I
on
mean,
it.
the two
No.
things that I see right off the bat, Rod, that you're talking about is under number 1 and 2 is just eliminate ability to and leave it. It starts out at dispatch, CAFA personnel.
Yeah,
And
right,
then
exactly.
tone activate emergency personnel, and that's what we're doing anyway.
Mhm.
But the ability to, yeah, we have the ability to do that, we're already doing that in 11 departments. So that would make it cleaner, I would think, in that perspective, is just get rid of that. The rest of it all is pretty much having the ability to provide rip and run. We just, take that back and put provide rip and run. We do that, that'll be,
Okay,
that's,
Yeah.
good, good.
it's a
That-
training
that-
system
I
that
think
both
it's a
stations.
significant change.
Yeah, that's fine. We can, we can go back if you want, or if you, this was originally, I think, a contract between CAFA and the city.
It was, yes,
I
correct.
mean, so if you want us to,
I think
I mean,
you
we
guys
have a
need to look at
contract,
it,
I
and I
think,
think
that
we
we
need, some legalize on this as well. It is a contract, folks.
yeah,
And we're doing month-to-month extensions with the city, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, month by month.
All right, so, what's the board's pleasure here?
Well, it does mean legal review and then.
Needs legal review and review by HVA, and then we'll do this, I will entertain a motion along those lines.
I would make a motion to have, well, do we call you folks, Roger, Emergent Health Partners, or?
Emergent Health Partners, that's our umbrella corporation.
I would make a motion to have Emergent Health Partners, review and modify the contract with CAFA for dispatch services, and have it reviewed by our legal personnel and bring back before the board in March. At our March meeting.
Great, thank you. Is there a second? Moved and seconded, further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion is agreed to, and we'll look at this, get this thing done in March. Thank you. Last unfinished item is status of investment account. I don't, and Treasurer Kosick is not here. Kim, do you have anything, or Jim, do you have anything to say on that? I really,
All right.
Well,
Sure,
Kurt
the,
just needs, he's got the paperwork, he has
Paperwork.
not contacted me, I don't know if he's even reviewed it.
okay, all right, well,
So, well, as soon as he's back from wherever,
do it
he
next
needs to
month.
get with them and go right to the bank and take care of it.
okay, fine, that's straightforward anyway. Okay, let's see, no new business for a change. Moving into reports, a chairman's report. I wanna clear up some things here. Chelsea had its annual visiting session last Wednesday. I spent a lot of time in the council chambers on Wednesday. And one of the things that came up was our committee assignments, which are usually formally agreed to following the election cycle, which is coming up in November. but it was reviewed as part of the session, and I indicated that I don't know that I will be around at that time, and I'm not making a decision. My term expires this November. I'm not, if I had to decide today, I would not run, but I'm not ruling out the fact that I might decide to run in the summertime. I don't hate to be ambivalent, but that's the way I have some personal issues that if they don't change, I will not run. Now, it is what it is. Hopefully I'll be able to make a decision. I said the same thing the last time and I ended up running, but things are different now. The second thing is that even if I do run, I don't intend to pursue another term as chairman of this body. So the board has to start thinking about succession planning to the extent that we can. It's difficult because of the nature of how people are appointed to the board and whatever, but you know, if you want to bring, I mean, I think it's key to have, it's a good handoff, I think, is something that CAFA has probably not done very well. And I would like to do this in a way that whoever takes over with whatever information I can provide to make the transition seamless. So, just for information, and from the Chelsea perspective, my alternate is Jim Miles, who's been here a few times. He runs the B&B in town, and he's actually doing B&B business today. He was planning on being here today, but he can't. And his situation is a little uncertain as well. Depends on the success of his business. So we felt, at least the Chelsea Council felt informally, I mean, this was a visioning session, which is a work session, which is no formal decision was made, but the nodding of the heads around the table was that we needed an alternate, and Sherry Albertson put her name up. So it hasn't been approved yet, won't be approved until the election cycle, but that's kind of what's penciled in right now, just so you'll know. So that's all I want to say about that. And Vice Chairman Meyer.
I've already said my piece, I
Okay.
believe.
Great, thank you. Secretary Riley?
Yep,
Nothing? Kurt's not here. Tom?
Well, if you're gonna have a successor, you should start compiling what you do and hours.
I don't want to scare him off.
Catch the rat in the trap first.
Yeah.
It's those 3 AM emails. Tell the tale. You're, good point, yeah, transition package. Okay. Anything else? Rod? Okay. All right, announcements, next meeting is on St. Patrick's Day, 17th of March, for you non-Irish. And now, down to final public comment. Anyone at all? Okay, that one, and now.
That means I'm up.
Entertain a
The
motion to
motion,
adjourn.
the motion to adjourn, man.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, discussion, hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Bringing a
Opposed,
green
same
beer.
sign, and we are adjourned.
Don't
Thank you
drink
very much.
the beer.
Don't you really?
No,
Don't kid.
under an hour.
You draw a line there that says, stupid.